It's like Christmas.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just ecstatically happy.
All right.
Why?
Well, I had a coworker that ended up in the hospital
Oh,
on my part-time job, and I went up there and led her to the Lord, so I'm kind of happy about that.
oh, that's neat, David.
Yep.
That's new. That's wonderful.
Really is.
So my days have been pretty good here lately.
Yeah, sure.
And when you do that, He makes your days real bright and fun. And
Yeah.
That's true too. I did, when I told you, I spoke with Reverend Dave a little while ago. He did say he had some good news that he'd like to pass on since he's not going to be here tonight. He had some good news that he'd like to pass on to everybody, that he is now able to walk without being assisted, without the walker or cane or anything.
Oh, that's good.
He's still not running around like he was when he was young, but his legs and things have gotten back to the point where he's able to use them. So he was happy about that.
yeah, that's a good thing.
That's awesome.
Actually, maybe a little jealous because he was, the way he was describing, his legs are doing better than mine now. So
Yeah. Can I identify with that?
of course he's a lot younger than I am, so I guess that makes a difference there a little bit. But what happened to Doug tonight? Where did he go off to?
Oh, he's at praise practice up in Salisbury. He's helping us.
Oh, okay.
The former music director left the church Doug was playing at and went up to this, about an hour away.
Yeah.
Doug's been helping him out, setting up the contemporary service up there, but I'll tell you, it's a trip.
Yeah.
Melissa's at work tonight. She's working till 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy on us. I don't know. She needs to tell them a little too much, 10 o'clock at night. And, you know, they got schoolwork to do, and don't think about that with these kids.
Yep. I'm afraid that's true. Of course, I work most of my life. Work third shift. Third shift, or what they call second shift, 3 to 11 shift. And I really got to where I like the 3 to 11 shift a whole lot better than any other.
Yeah, when we were first married, Doug's dad was working, he was in banking in New York. But we, newly married, we didn't have a lot of money. So
Right.
he took a part-time job working as a guard at a brewery on Staten Island. And he worked, oh gosh, probably not during the week, but like on weekends. He would get home at 8 o'clock in the morning. He loved it.
Yeah.
He just thought that was the greatest thing. He really
What?
loved it.
I worked third shift for quite a few years, from midnight, from 11 to 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
I actually liked that shift, but it did have its its negative side.
Yeah.
I was away from home all night, and I got home. I went to bed and went to sleep. My wife took the kids out and got them out of the house so I could sleep. So.
Yeah, they're like ships in the night.
Right.
And it is hard when you have kids. It's, God,
Yep.
I don't know how to be quiet.
That was when all my kids were little. Of course, they're all grown, getting to be old folks too now. So
Yeah, my mother worked at the hospital for 20 years in the OR, and she worked 3 to 11. And she'd come home and clean house till 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh,
And she raised 3 boys, and I'd tiptoe around the house and carry my youngest brother around so she could sleep, you know.
oh.
yep. Like I said, I liked working that time of night. I like not having to sit in traffic on the freeway through Atlanta. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
driving when everybody else was home sleeping or whatever. So, but
That's a good point.
it did have its drawbacks, though. It's the negative side, you know. I remember a lot of Christmas Eve coming home and sleeping a couple hours so I could, be halfway coherent, and then getting up with the kids, things like that. It was there was its moments when it was tough, and that was like I said, it was a good thing too. So the one I didn't like, the word shift, I didn't like the absolute worst. I hated it was day shift. One, there was always a lot of traffic getting to work and going home from work, and there was a day shift. I always had a lot of people that I guess they thought they were boss or something, because they sure acted like it. And I had to put up with a lot of politics and stuff like that at work, and I just didn't like that. I really liked the evening shift when it was just workers there then,
Yeah, real
Yeah.
people.
real people. Yeah.
That's what I deal with on driving the bus, is a lot of politics and garbage, you know. You got one lead guy will tell you one thing not to do, and then the other lead guy will tell you to do it. That's why I like landscaping. I don't allow no politics if they're working for me. And I don't like butt kissers.
No politics from the trees, huh?
That's right.
Mike, is the Eagle money straight down?
Yes, ma'am. The Eagle Money and also the Feeder Matrix site is down right now. They periodically they do that to come in and do upkeep, and updates and maintenance and things like that. I just noticed it now. It was up earlier, but I just noticed it just now. I flipped over there and it was down. So
Yeah, I was putting some ads in, and I thought something's up.
yeah, I noticed one of my domains, my short domains that I used. I noticed it wasn't working. That's the reason I started checking, trying to find out whether it was the Eagle Money site or whether it was my domain that was having a problem.
I got a question, Mike.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about having tangible products to sell online along with what we're doing?
I did that for a while, quite a while, and made some money. I had a few setbacks and lost some money too. I actually started out on online selling products. I was buying shelf pulls and things like that, where stores come in, you know, at the end of the season or something, they pull merchandise off the shelf. And if you got the right contacts, you can buy that stuff really cheap. And I was turning around and reselling it on the internet, and that's how I got involved with eBay. And we were doing really well. We was turning some good money, and we eventually opened up a warehouse, 4,000 square foot warehouse, and I was getting big, huge tractor trailer loads a couple times a week. And we were doing real good, and I got sick. My wife got sick. My daughter got sick, and that was 3 of the 4 main people in the company there. And we, you know, going through all that, and we had some problems, and I had a big load. You know, it was like $50,000 worth of load that. The people that sold it to me didn't exactly describe it the way it really was, and we lost a lot of money there. And so eventually things kept going downhill for one reason or the other, so we closed down and went out of business on that. But that started out online, doing just what you're talking about, selling products online.
It got too big.
And we just grew too big, I think, if you want to know the real truth. But,
well, I've got a product I might add to a website. A couple of them. One of them's Orthogel. It's an orthopedic gel that you use for pain.
Yeah.
And then the other one is negative ion bracelets. You know, it's called Balance Bond.
Mm-hmm.
And the contact that I've got, I only have to pay him $3 for them, and I can charge about $9.99. So they, you know, it'll make me about $7. But then shipping, you know, I just don't know. It might be worth it if you could sell 100,000 of them a day. You know.
That might be a little optimistic. I wouldn't tell you no.
Yeah.
We did that. Well, you know, the very same thing there. When we started, we were buying merchandise that we could buy cheap. I actually, well, that was what distressed merchandise was the biggest thing we were selling. But you know, it was all it had just about everything you could think of in the mix. Every kind of product you could think of, not perishable and not pharmaceuticals or anything like. Well, I say not pharmaceuticals. I actually had a contract with a company manufacturing vitamins, and I was buying vitamins in the pallet load and selling them too. But for the most part, we was just household items, household goods, electronics, soft goods, stuff like that. And
well, see, this guy, I don't have to buy it. I can just move it.
That's what I was getting around to. Is what I did in a lot of cases. I contracted with company so that I sold their merchandise, and when people ordered their merchandise, they paid me, and I turned around and had the company drop ship the merchandise straight to the customer. And of course, I paid him, and I kept the profit, the difference. And that worked out pretty good for a while. I didn't have to worry about shipping and everything. I just had to make sure that I collected enough, collected more money than what it cost me, and generally was able to do that. But,
you're breaking up.
I'm still pretty solid here. I'm not breaking it off. No.
Yeah, I
I'm-
hear it too.
Get this repositioned here. Maybe that'll work better.
You're clearer now.
That's good.
You was breaking up.
But it was a business we thoroughly enjoyed. But like I said, once we got into the warehouse and we was having such big loads, and it just got to be a lot of work. And my daughter, who was, like I said, one of the key people in the company there, she was pregnant, and my wife had a problem where the warehouse in the summertime it got really hot, and it made her sick, and I had a heart attack around that time, so there was just a few odd and end things that happened. It just made the business turn upside down, and so we closed it down. But like I said, we thoroughly enjoyed it while we was doing it, and it was we had fun, and it really could have turned out to be something really good, really big. But and it was for a while. But like I said, my wife said too, we grew too big too quick.
And we were too believing.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, you can make some money there if you're willing. It can get to be a lot of work. If you're having to package all the merchandise up to be shipped, and you're having to take it to the shipper or to the post office or however you're gonna handle it and do that, then that gets to be a lot of work. If you're gonna move enough merchandise to make it worth your time and generate an income out of it, unless you can, the best thing I ever did was when I found what they call drop shippers, and they like I said, they handle the merchandise. They the only thing I did was advertise and take orders, and when they took orders, I just turned around and had the drop ship straight to the customer, so I didn't have to do all the handling and everything like that, and that was a pretty good deal.
Yeah. I'll probably set it up that way. I'll probably have him drop ship it to the customer and then just cut the profit.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't have to fool with it.
Now, I still got a shed out in my carport that's full of stuff. If you want to know, want to buy a bunch of stuff.
I'll buy it cheap too, huh?
Yeah. But we was doing all right there for a while. We were shipping internationally all around the world.
You just had to make sure your phone spoke German. Russian.
I got a hold of a lot of cell phone. This is back when cell phones were just taking off and just becoming good. And these were track phones. I don't know if you remember track phone or not, but these were old analog track phones that I had, and I got a few cases of them, and I advertised them. And a fellow over in Russia bought them, and the first thing he did was he had to contact me because he had a question. I said, okay, well, what's your question? Before I'd ever got them shipped to him, he asked me, he says, do these things talk Russian or what? How do they talk? I told him they talk any language that you talk into them.
yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what I found out. Them old phones,
Yeah.
are a new fad now, and they're selling for $1,500 a piece.
Oh. That's a whole lot more than I was selling phones for. I was doing all right. We was making a good profit with them, but not $1,500 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, the first cell phones that ever came out, that's what they're selling for. It's a new trend that's starting. Everybody wants them.
I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know about selling those here in the States, but you know, you might be able to, unless some people are just collecting them and not selling, not buying them to use. But if they're buying them to use, you probably still have a pretty good market in some of your third world nations around the world. Africa, I sold a few down in Africa, India. Of course, India is probably one of the, they'd probably consider the States a third world nation when it comes to cell phones in India. They're really, really high tech over there. But
Yeah.
we also sold a bunch of them into China, some down in Australia, some over in Russia, like I said. And by the way, the Russian phones speak Russian when you speak Russian into them.
Yeah. You know, you take one of those model numbers and Google it off them phones and see what they're selling for.
I'll do that.
The flip phone, expensive. You know, the old style, the first flip phones that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I'm talking about.
I've probably got one or two in my drawer over here.
Yeah, that was Joe's favorite, the flip phone.
Problem is, a lot of the service providers nowadays won't support phones like that. So.
Nope.
I don't know why they're selling for that much, but they are.
I don't doubt it. I don't know why anybody would want them either, especially not that much. But we
I heard that on the radio. What they were selling for.
I haven't heard that.
actually most of the ones I was selling were obsolete by the time I was selling them, except in the, like I said, in the third world nations and stuff like that. They were grabbing all of them they could get. I had a few cases of donut makers. They
Oh,
were,
we still have a few cases.
no, I don't. We've got a few of them left. Not many left anymore, because there was a school over in France, a chef school over in France. And he found out I had them, and he bought most of the ones I had. These were, and he paid good money to have them shipped. But they basically were items that you could probably go to a dollar store and pick them up for $1 a piece over here. But where he was at, he couldn't get them.
Right.
And they became a high demand item. I wish I had more of them. Actually, I still do have a few, not many.
I'm using them for Christmas. You don't have any.
My wife says she's using them for Christmas gifts. So. I've got a couple cases of they're like a USB drive that you use on your computer, but they don't have a memory chip in them, and you can take them memory chips like you'd use in your camera or even your cell phones and plug into them, and then plug them into your computer and read the chip. And they're card readers is what they are. And when I first bought them, most computers didn't have card readers on them built into them. Then there came a time when every computer out there had card reader built into it, and now we've just about got to the point where computers don't have card readers on them anymore. So these items are becoming handy. I bought them for maybe $1 a piece or something like that. And at the time I bought them, they were selling for $19, $20 a piece. I still got a couple cases of them sitting out there. But to answer your original question, it'd be a good deal. You go to Weebly or someplace like that and create a little web page, a sales page, and advertise them. You know, go to your Facebook groups, and you could go to eBay. I did real well with eBay for a while until eBay kind of
Charges too much now.
eBay got carried away with commercial outfits, you know, selling stuff, and they lost, you know, well, the best thing I can say is, you know, they didn't go home with the girl they took to the dance, and so eBay kind of messed himself up there. But for a while there, we were doing real good with eBay, and we were selling merchandise through eBay, doing real well. There's also Craigslist and things like that. You can sell your merchandise through that will work pretty good if you get your hands on the right merchandise and choose the right area of the country or the right area of the world to market it. You know, you do real well with it. Like I said, if at all possible, I would try to, you know, work a contract out with a drop shipper instead of trying to tie yourself up doing all the order taking and advertising and selling and packing and shipping, and pretty soon that gets to be a real big job.
Yeah.
For a while there, I was producing. This is back before ebooks were real popular, before your different readers were, ebook readers were popular, and I was selling CD disc, loaded with a bunch of ebooks that I acquired the resale rights for, and I copied them and was selling those, and those were selling pretty good there for a while. But then, like you said, your Amazon and a couple places like that kind of, I guess they saw the profit in it, and they stepped in and cut everybody's throat. It made the business less profitable.
Yeah.
So we kind of moved away from that. I've done a lot of things in my life. I had a CB radio repair and sales business, brick and mortar business. That wasn't online. And, we were doing really well there, and that was back when the CB business was booming. And I bought a bunch of CB radios at a reasonable cost, and started to sell them. And just about that time, the Japanese decided that the American public was suckers, so they flooded our market. I mean, they literally flooded our market, and you got to where you could buy CB radios on, you know, from every gas station, drugstore, or, you know, dime store. Everything else was selling CB radios. And the problem is they were able to buy them in such quantities, they were selling them cheaper than what I could buy them for. So I wound up with a few cases of CB radios before I got out of that business, and it took me several years to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But we did real good for a while, real good.
And we also used to go to the thrift store, and I'd
I
buy
still
a
go to
local
CB
clothes
radio.
and so on.
Another
In the house.
you did what?
I say I still got a CB radio in the house.
Well, yeah, actually, I've got a couple, 2 or 3.
Doug had it.
Oh,
Doug had it when he was trucking, and then
Yeah,
when he went to Charlotte, he got the part-time job in Charlotte a few years ago. It's car traffic on, the Charlotte
yep,
highway, just going into Charlotte. It's so bad. He got a CB. He said that's the only thing that's going to help. So
Yeah.
he bought
well, that's actually what made the CB business boom,
yeah.
and that's about the time that I was in it and involved in it and doing real well with it. Was when Smokey and the Bandit came out. I don't know if you remember the movie Smokey and the Bandit. When,
I only seen it about 8 times.
well, when that movie came out, CB radio business boomed. I mean, it exploded.
Yeah.
And I was there and rode that wave for a while, but then, like I said, the Japanese decided they could outdo us, and they could take advantage of the dumb Americans. So
And
they
they did.
did. They did. And,
I got a neat little story to tell you.
all right.
I was playing around with my CB here one day that was when my oldest daughter was alive, and
Mhm.
she had this lamp in her bedroom on her headboard, and she was in there on her computer,
Yeah.
and this lamp, it was one of them touch lamps,
Yeah.
and it would go up about 3 or 4 levels. And every time I keyed the mic, it'd turn the lamp on. The next time I keyed the mic, the lamp would go up 1 step, and then the next time I keyed it, it'd go up another step. And she popped up in the bed and she said, "That's got to be Dad."
Yeah.
I was running a linear at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was fortunate enough in my lifetime. I got in on the beginning of a few of those waves. I was also unfortunate enough that I got in on the wrong end of a few of those waves sometimes. But I gained a lot of experience. But to get back to your original question, it's still a good opportunity out there, especially now that you got online to sell them. There's a few outlets out there you can take advantage of, and if you'll just go, if you really want to get into doing that business, if you'll go and Google and just look for distress, some people selling distressed merchandise. Because that's where you're going to make your biggest profit. Because most of this distressed merchandise is brand new merchandise, nothing wrong with it. It's just been, it's last year's model, and the stores pull it off the shelf so they can stock their shelves with this year's model, and they sell all that stuff really cheap. Usually you got to be willing to buy, a truckload of it, or at least, a few pallets of it at a time to get a good price. But if you get the right merchandise you're gonna be able to market and sell, and that's not a bad deal. And of course, what happened?
What do you mean by stress merchandise?
Distressed. Distress is, like I said, it's when stores, and all kind of stores I'm talking about, hard goods, soft goods, but generally when it comes close to the end of their season, they pull merchandise off the shelves that's last year's merchandise and put this year's merchandise on the shelves, and of course they got to move last year's merchandise. They got to try to recover what they can for it, so they'll sell it real cheap, and just to recover what money they can out of it. They've already made their profit on all this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what we used to do to Walmart, for our hunting goods.
Mm-hmm.
We'd wait until the season was over, and then we'd buy up all the stuff
Yep.
that they marked way down. And I was talking to a manager at one of the Walmarts, and he said, "Oh, you was one of those people that made the stores get rid of all the hunting, the hunting stuff."
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a good deal I got with Walmart one time is I bought all of the end of the season Barbie dolls they had.
Oh, yeah.
All the Walmarts in the area, I bought them all. And you'd be surprised if the Barbie doll is still in the original package. You'd be surprised how many collectors there are out there buying Barbie dolls, and they pay good money for them. So we did real well with that deal, and we literally bought hundreds of Barbie dolls. But, if you keep your eye open, if it's a young man's game, I think. But if you keep your eyes open, your ears open, and you pay attention to the market, pay attention to what's going, and you just move around and talk to people in the market, talk to people that are doing the business. Ask them what's selling, what's not selling. And you learn the ropes. You can actually make a real good living doing that, because what's one man's last season junk is another man's this season treasure. And, if you don't believe it, just drive up and down the road and look at the antique shops that are around. And you can go
Yeah,
to
there's a bunch of them.
another outlet you got there is the big flea markets. There's still a bunch of them around. We used to go around, actually several state area here. We go around and hit some of the really big flea markets. You get up in Tennessee sometimes, there's a lot of them up there. And we're talking about
But
really huge flea markets.
Well, we've got a huge one down here, but I think it's more or less a retail store, because you really don't pay that much.
Yeah, well, you gotta
We got.
find them. That's what happened to eBay. eBay was a huge online flea market, and it was doing good while it was individuals selling their junk they had in the house to get rid of it. And it was doing really good, and there was a lot of people finding a lot of treasures that was one man's junk and another man's treasure, and they were doing good. But then retail outlets realized there was a market there, and realized they could step in on it and take that market, and they did, and they earned it. It's just that's what happened to Craigslist. That's why Craigslist, bloomed and became so big, because they stayed with the one man's junk, instead of going to the commercial markets and there again Japanese markets and stuff like that, and bringing in cheap junk and trying to pawn it off on the American public. Like I said, eBay didn't go home with the girl they took to the dance. That was a big mistake on their part, as far as I'm concerned. eBay's still around, but they're just not what they used to be.
And they charge too much.
Well, they do. They charge way too much. Once the retailers took it over and ran the little man out, then they realized then they could start charging more money and more money, and the prices went up, and it just ruined the business. Hurt a lot of little people, me being one of them.
Yeah.
But you stay online, and you know, there's a lot of outlets, a lot of markets, a lot of ways to advertise your merchandise, and especially nowadays you got the all the Facebook groups that are out there just for people to advertise in and sell their products in, and you can create your, you know, you don't have to get over carried away with a big huge website, but what you can do is create you a sales page, a real good sales page, and with a and you can go to PayPal, and PayPal will they'll give you the software that you can put a button on your website for people to click on, and it'll actually handle the sale for you. And you can do your marketing through payment processors such as PayPal, and PayPal is probably the biggest and the best. The only thing is PayPal don't deal with too much over in Europe, and they do a little bit, but not a whole lot of Europe and the rest of the world. They tend to stay more over here in the Western Hemisphere, the North American markets, and so they're a little limited. So you have to you generally have to work out deals with or get accounts with different ones, such as the Payza and the Solid Trust Pay, and there's half a dozen other e-wallets and payment processors. If you're going to work online, you pretty much have to do that. You pretty much have to be able to take a credit card. So if you have a business account with PayPal, you can actually accept credit cards, and they have
I got a.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a business account with them.
Yeah. They have a little gadget you can plug into your USB port on your cell phone, and you can actually scan and take credit cards with your cell phone, without having to have
one of those.
that.
I got one of those. Yeah.
I'm a couple merchants I deal with right now, and use those instead of having to have the machine, the credit card machine and stuff like that the credit card processors pay, charge you big money for.
Yeah.
So makes PayPal rather considerably cheaper than dealing with some of the bigger PayPal, payment processors.
Right.
But if you're gonna deal online, you just about got to deal with credit cards. So
I noticed that on Peter Matrix that Payza is now accepted in the U.S.
Yeah, that's something they just recently started doing. Open up in the U.S., which is good, I guess. It kind of ties the U.S. and the European market together there. So that's a good deal, I think.
So if I get in the Facebook groups and advertise my products, how many views a day you think I can get?
Well, there's several. I don't have any idea. There's a bunch of Facebook groups out there that are dealing with just that, for people to advertise and do their advertising on. Most of them are geared towards people advertising their businesses and opportunities, but a lot of them are marketing products. A lot of people marketing products, and the only thing is there, you pretty much have to stay on top of that, and don't hit the same group every day, but kind of rotate around through the groups, and if you get at least I'd say 400 or 500 groups that you can market in, and there are plenty of them out there. The only thing there is that takes a little time. There is software out there you can buy that will automatically advertise into different groups. And you set the groups up you want, and you set the frequency up that you want the groups to, your ads to go out, and they'll do that. And you could actually set up, 400 or 500 groups that way, and set it up where it run almost on, automatically. But the next thing you got to do is you got to be able to write a sales page that you're advertising, and you got to, of course, that sales page has to stay fresh. Yeah, you have to keep it so that people don't say, "Oh, I saw that yesterday. I don't need to look at it anymore." So you have to have something that stays pretty fresh. You have to have ads that stay fresh, keep people attention. And I don't know how many views you could get. I would say you could probably have about well over 1 million views a day by doing that. But it's going to require work. It's going to require staying on top of it. It's a business. It's not it's not a game. And a lot of people get in and start trying to play game and just having fun with it. And I got nothing against having fun, but when they start doing that, then they don't make any money. And they don't make any money, then the same thing happens with the networking business. People think they're gonna get rich, tomorrow. And when they don't get rich tomorrow, then they start getting discouraged, and then they start bad mouthing the networking business. And nothing wrong with the networking business at all. It's great business. It's just there's so many people out there, especially today in today's economy, and people are just looking for a way, and there's just enough gurus, for lack of a better word, out there saying, you don't have to do anything, just pay up here, click on the dotted line, pay up here, and we'll do it all for you. We'll do all the selling for you, and we'll do all the work for you, and you won't have to do anything, and you're going to get rich tomorrow. And there's just enough people that want something to hope for. They want that. And of course they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. But there's just and there's so many people out there that jump in on something like that, and then when it doesn't happen, overnight, they get discouraged, and then they'll go off and start bad mouthing the business. That's what we've been fighting for a number of years now. That's what we're trying to educate enough people that enough people realize that that's just not the way business works. It's a real business. Networking is a real business, and people that treat it as a real business, over a period of time, they actually make money with it. People that don't treat it as a real business and think it's something that's just going to fall in their lap and they're going to get rich, then they don't.
Yeah, and then they fall off the planet.
Yeah, and then they do. You're right. That's pretty much the reason I've gone over everything I've gone with to answer your question. I know we spent a lot of time on it, but it's a good question. You have a very good question, and it's a very good opportunity that you're looking at. One thing about and you mentioned some of the products you mentioned, you need to be real careful about, is this product going to be government regulated? If you get products that are government regulated, such as pharmaceuticals and drugs and things like that, or food items even, you start, the government likes to play with things, and if it works real good for you, the government will mess it up. Just give them a chance.
Yeah. They'll get me for monopoly if I make too much money.
Well, if you make too much money, they'll find a way to regulate it to the point where only the big people can make money, and little people like you won't ever make it. So you either got to get big real quick and survive and become one of the big people that have enough politicians in your pocket, or you got to be real careful about the market you're getting into, and make sure that it's not something that's going to be real attractive to the big boys.
Yeah.
We lost someone. You're still there. I assume it was Sandy that dropped off.
Yeah, she probably didn't want to drop off either.
She doesn't. I'm sure. Her phone does that sometimes to her.
Yeah, mine did that one night.
Well,
Right at 9 o'clock, it just went whoop.
actually, mine's done that too. Anyway.
Well, we're up on an hour.
Yep, we are. And I appreciate y'all being in here. We'll be back again Tuesday night. And like I said, it's been an interesting subject tonight. I appreciate you coming up with that question and I hope I answered your question for you.
Yeah, well, I got a formula that I was taught. See if I get this right. 100 plus. There's
Welcome back.
She's back.
I'm back.
I hear that.
Yeah, I got a formula. There's 68% of internet marketing is women. And the formula is a 100 times 10 equals 1. So that's I got to find something that has an emotional attachment.
Yeah.
And something to market to women.
What you want is something that is if you're going to deal with products, you want a product that probably is probably market somewhere between $5 and $10 in cover shipping and processing and tax and everything, and still turn you a profit.
Yeah.
You want something that's like in simply because there's more women out there on the internet. There's more women out there doing ordering and marketing and buying on the internet. And simply because of that fact, you want something that's going to be, that women are going to be, attracted to, for, something that's going to appeal to them, to women. But you don't want to leave the men out entirely.
Right.
So you do your research and find that kind of product. Actually, a product that appeals to kids is usually a good product, as long as it's something that the women would tend to buy for the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can spend hours doing research. You can spend hours doing research, and I do highly advise, if you're going to get into the market, if you're going to get into the businesses, do your research. Do all the research you can, but then don't get hung up, on doing research and not ever get around to marketing.
Right.
Look at the trends and things like that. That's a lot of times I looked in there. I told you Barbie dolls. Well, a particular time I did that. Barbie dolls was hot, and especially the particular one that Walmart was fixing to discontinue them, and they were big in the market, in the antique market, in the people that were grabbing them, and I saw that. That's when we went out and struck a deal with Walmart and bought all the Barbie dolls I had of that particular kind, that particular model.
Yeah.
Because there again, it was something that would have, if we couldn't fill the antique market, we could sell them to the kids. We could sell them to women through to the kids through the women. It seemed to fit all the all the parameters there that we were looking for, and I don't think we got stuck with any Barbie dolls, do we?
We
No,
didn't.
we moved every one of them we could get our hands on.
Yeah.
There again, you also got getting stuck is a bad way to say it, I guess, but you got to realize that sometimes you're going to get in on a wave and you're going to move a lot of product and you go out and buy too much and you wind up with the wave collapsing underneath you and you're sitting out there floating in the water on a surfboard that ain't moving, and you got a closet full of merchandise that nobody wants.
Right.
That's all right. Hang on to it. It goes in cycles, and it'll come back again. Somebody will want them.
Yeah.
One thing we did, my wife mentioned it a while ago, but I don't know if you heard of it. One thing we did is we went to a lot of thrift stores
When
and
they
stuff
had
like
Double
that.
Day and stuff.
When they would have days when they would have market, we could buy, really, really, really cheap clothing. Most of the clothing, and going into stores like that, we could buy brand name clothing. The brand names that people were looking for. And and things like the blue jeans with the holes already wore in them, and that's good stuff. And but we could buy what people were wanting. But the big they were like last year's model from out of the big stores, and the thrift stores were doing the same thing we're doing. They were going and buying them. We'd go to the thrift store when the thrift store would have the whatever kind of day you said, Double Day or something like that.
Yeah.
And we would buy that, and that was always a good profit maker for us, simply because we could sell big brand name clothing online. That's stuff we sold online, and then that's really stuff we got into having to package and ship ourselves. But it turned out to be a good profit because we could buy at such a really, really cheap rate. Actually, we learned a lot of lessons there. If everybody learned that lesson, it'd put most of the big stores out of business. Because just about anybody can walk into a store and buy really, really good quality merchandise at ridiculously low prices if you just know what they're looking for and you're willing to accept last year's instead of this year's. And
Right.
you know what? They hadn't changed blue jeans in over 100 years. They're still blue jeans.
Yeah.
They make cut holes in them in different places and make them look wore out, but and call them this year's model. But they're still. If you just do your research, you'll find out what actually is out there that people are looking for. One thing I used to do is I used to spend hours on, and like I said, this was back when eBay was a viable business, but I used to spend hours just looking, seeing what was selling and what they were selling for, and that way I knew what to look for. And it just, like I said, it's a business. It's a real business. But if you treat it like a real business, you'll make some money. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all being in here tonight. I've really enjoyed tonight. And I actually pushed the record button, so I've got this all recorded.
Well, I really pushed the right button tonight.
You
we
did.
Had you going.
You do. Well, you did. And I hope I've shared some of my experiences with you that has helped you learn a little bit. Shucks, maybe one of y'all can tell us Tuesday night, because one of y'all may know more about it than I do. But anyway, that's the experiences I've had, and there's some of them been good, some of them haven't been so good. But overall, it's a great business. Does anybody else have anything else you want to add before we do close and leave Sandy all alone there again?
No, I can't think of anything.
Well, I do appreciate y'all being in here tonight. I look forward to these calls. We'll say good night. Like I said, I'll be back Tuesday night. And if you gotta run across any friends or contacts or anything like that, tell them what a good time we have and tell them to come join us. We'll be glad to have them.
All right.
All right. Look forward to talking to you then. We'll say good night.
Good night. God bless y'all. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.